From the very beginning, when we first started talking about doing this Black Widow standalone film, I felt there was no reason to do it unless we could really dig deep. We really wanted to let people see who Natasha really is and what drives her, and see that heaviness that Natasha walks around with and like what that burden is. As much of a brave choice as this film is, I knew that we were cooking with gas.
When I first spoke to the team, all they wanted me to do was trust them, because what they want is for me to feel free to give ideas and not to feel this sense of judgment. That's quite liberating, actually, as a filmmaker. People would think it would be quite the opposite, but actually when you're here, it's like a family. It is like a family. It's a big film, and my job is to inspire people to do the best work they can.
First day set of Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have Scarlett Johansson obviously playing Natasha Romanoff like we've never seen her before, on her own, driving the story, and also really opening up a part of her backstory. And I think that's going to make her a lot more stripped down for the audience to see as a three-dimensional character.
I see everything visually, but it has to come back to the character. And we're reflecting that into the visualization, the storytelling. We come at it as a team.
As soon as you cross through, shoot. Right. Everyone else clear and shush, please.
Location gave us a great sort of jumping off point for a lot of different stuff that goes on in the film. And Budapest itself is such a beautiful city. Just felt like it would be visually really exciting too. The Marvel Universe has never really explored this great like Eastern European vibe, which is so fun.
Also, in the same sense as Budapest, we wanted to find environments which would play as Russia in the UK. Hankley Common had all the right landscape. Certainly for Eastern Europe, it seemed to work pretty well. And then there just happened to be this kind of little army barracks within it that we turned into a kind of homestead.
Dunsfold is the one where we built this farm area with interesting dead plants and old farm machinery, and used lots of different layers of plastics and fabrics, because we knew the polytunnels were going to be the lighting sources. And when lit up, it was quite magical.
The lovely thing about these films are there's such an incredible variation of environments. Apartments, in Budapest, we've got these crazy gulags. There's a great range.
Charlie is such an accomplished production designer. His attention to detail is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And something that was very important from the beginning was creating a world that Kate saw fit for this movie.
We're looking at the light and shade in the character, and we want to see that on the screen. We see her in Eastern Europe, we get to see her in the subways of Paris. It's beautiful.
You could never build all these places. All of the departments, locations, the art department, visual effects, everyone who's involved in this, we can do some pretty clever things, but to go to these cities is really the only way to do it if you want to capture scale, if you want to actually shoot something that's got some dimension to it, that actually has the right history to it, all of those reasons. That's what you get from being on location.
We're trying to merge both the tactile location world in this film and going out and shooting in places like you see behind me, but also we're in large stage builds.
Our practical world and our digital worlds need to seamlessly blend together. We've done our job correctly, I think, when audiences could believe that any environment could exist, even if it's a floating fortress in the sky.
It takes a huge collaboration. Stunts, SFX, and the visual effects house have come together, and then we'll take all of those elements and create our CG world around them and make a really exciting sequence.
2, 1, action!
That chase is so many things. Some of it is us on this track. Some of it is us being pulled by a camera on this rig. And then a lot of it is also practical.
It was so exciting to do, and all the stunt people were just so happy and excited that we wanted to be a part of it.
I didn't know how it was gonna be for us. You know, when you read it on the page, you're like, okay, a motorcycle chase through Budapest. And then right before you're shooting it, you're like, how are we gonna be on the street? It's gonna be crazy. How are we gonna shoot this?
It was awesome.
All right, stand by to shoot.
Day one, White Widow. The action in this film, I mean, I'm probably biased, but I think there's some of the best fights that we've had in the MCU.
Today we're on the Gulag. We just wrapped up a very, very big fight scene. It's been absolutely chaos in here.
I got so beat up and so busted up during that fight. There were 400 extras of all shapes and sizes, all super professional. I mean, we would get together and shoot sequences where they were doing really complicated things. These guys were amazing.
We're gonna see Natasha fight where her old tricks will no longer work.
You're not here for me.
It's the first time we see her get defeated. It's a good choreographed fight with some kind of gritty stuff in there as well.
That opening fight sequence was supposed to be sloppy and messy and emotional. These girls are assassins. They know how to get the job done, and so everything about that fight was their version of verbal arguing.
Every fight in this movie, we're trying to bring a theme to. So for the safe house fight, it's visceral, that's supercharged with a lot of emotion and history. Whereas the next fight we'll be getting into is the Red Room fight between a lot of widows. There's no way really for Natasha to win a fight like that. These widows are strong. Natasha was one of them. So it's a question of how do we up Natasha's widow to be better than the rest?
All the fights in the MCU, but particularly in this film, really come from the place of character.
What happened to her?
What's driving the characters has to be just as truthful as any other project.
Jacob had her killed.
These are people that are constantly battling with their own stuff. That was something that I personally found quite exciting about this time for women in the MCU. I think it's just so cool that this film is going to be seen by so many girls, and they can also see these amazing superheroes battling with their own issues.
I want every little girl to watch this, and my daughter, you know, I want her to look up and go, I don't have to be anything than what I am.
I think when a girl or a woman sees women being action stars, they can identify, and it's just you go along with the story imagining that it's you.